At first, I didn't think much about the deepening connection between my wife and her personal trainer. She had joined the gym to stay healthy, a decision I fully endorsed. But soon, her conversations at home revolved solely around him. His methods, his advice, his constant compliments. I stayed calm, convincing myself it was just a fleeting passion. However, when I saw them together outside the gym, their laughter too familiar, it became evident that their bond had crossed professional boundaries. One evening, I gently brought up my concerns. She didn't deny them. Instead, she brushed me off, saying my long hours at work left her feeling ignored, and that he truly saw her for who she was. Her betrayal stung deeply, but I refused to sacrifice my dignity by begging her to stop. A few days later, to my astonishment, the trainer showed up at my workplace, a smug smirk plastered across his face, as if he'd already won. He sauntered into my office, casually propping himself against my desk. "She deserves a real man," he taunted boldly. "You're not enough for her." His words cut sharply. For a moment, I was stunned, torn between rage and disbelief. But as I observed him, I realized he thrived on stirring conflict. He wanted to break me. Rather than exploding in anger, I gave him a composed smile. "Did she tell you that?" I asked. My calm demeanor seemed to rattle him. He had expected me to lose control, to give him the reaction he craved. But I had no intention of handing him that victory. I started quietly gathering information. Through some connections, I discovered the trainer wasn't as reputable as he appeared. He had a past filled with dubious dealings, using his position to exploit clients, especially women, for personal gain and favors. There were complaints against him that the gym had buried to avoid bad publicity. This was the leverage I needed. The next time he tried to provoke me, I proposed a straightforward talk at a cafe. He arrived full of arrogance, certain he had crushed my spirit. Leaning back with a smirk, he repeated his jab. "Face it, you'll never be what she needs." That's when I slid a folder across the table, packed with evidence of his misdeeds. His confident grin faded as he flipped through the pages. "How did you get this?" he stammered, his voice unsteady. I leaned forward and said, "You thought you could bully me, but you missed one crucial detail. I don't fight with fists. I fight with truth." I made it clear that if he didn't disappear from our lives immediately, these documents would reach the gym's management and the authorities. For the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. He tried to negotiate, even tossed out vague threats, but his bravado had collapsed. He knew I wasn't the weakling he had assumed. Within days, he quietly resigned from the gym and left town. My wife never heard from him again. The fall of her so-called ideal man forced her to reassess everything. She tried to repair our relationship, offering apologies and admitting she had been deceived. But betrayal leaves scars that don't easily fade. I couldn't pretend nothing had happened. I explained that trust and loyalty are the cornerstones of a marriage, and she had thrown both away. We separated soon after. It was a heart-wrenching decision, but it was essential. I learned that revenge doesn't always require loud arguments or physical clashes. It's about standing your ground, holding on to your self-respect, and letting those who wrong you drown in their own arrogance. The trainer had mocked me, thinking I wasn't man enough. But in the end, I proved that true strength isn't about muscle or swagger. It's about endurance, intelligence, and the courage to act with honor. That was the lesson they both learned the hard way. I may have been quiet, but I was never weak. I made them both regret underestimating me.